My name's Seb Philpott.
And I'm Verity Simmons.
Welcome to
3 in a Bar, but with a difference.
Yeah.
Because we're actually on location.
We're not in a bar.
No.
We're in a museum. The British Museum.
So great. And look, we're here for the Ivors Composers Award. It's their 20th year, and we've been kindly invited here by Premier Pierre to come and chat to the winners.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of people to speak to, if they'll agree to do it. Not sure yet if
No.
they're going to do that. We have 2 sofas set up, as if it's almost some kind of chat show. And we've just got a conveyor belt of talented composers coming through that door who are going to be asked the question, do you want an interview with 3 in a Bar or not? And they'll go, who is that? And then they'll say, it's a podcast that's sporadically released about music. And then they'll go, no, you're all right. Or they'll say, okay, fine, how long is it going to take? And then we'll see what happens. So that's basically the plan for tonight.
Yeah, it's slick, definitely, as ever. This is the short list of nominees. It's really high tech.
Let's get a close up of this.
Look at that, look, Ian. Look at them, there's loads. So, we're going to do our darned best to make sure that we approach the right person at the right time.
I don't know if you've ever tried to research how many people, like 100 people, just in case one of them wins.
It's a lot.
It's quite a lot.
It's a lot.
I have to say I haven't researched everybody. We're just going to find out what happens. I mean, I've got to be honest.
No, I know, and it's part of the fun, isn't it? That's exciting.
It's like a lottery.
It is a lottery.
But it's not a lottery how they judge. They've really
Very
thought about
much not. Very much not. Do you want some fun facts?
Yes.
46% of the shortlisted composers tonight are first-time nominees. 9 categories.
Yeah.
3 special awards tonight. So that's another Jeopardy moment there, because we don't know anything about who's got. It could be literally anyone.
You're on the panel this year.
I was a judge this year.
Wow.
Yes. Which feels like a huge responsibility but it's amazing. Like, it's incredible just to get a kind of snapshot of what everyone's doing and the variety and kind of different, styles and approaches that all come into even just one category. It's really amazing. So
I'm sure you won't be able to say to us. Maybe you got any was there anything that stood out to you? Don't feel you have to give specifics, but did you hear things you really loved?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And honestly, it's such an amazing sort of showcase of new music and the wealth of talent that is out there. It's unbelievable and so hard to kind of narrow it down in any kind of way to winners and nominees, because everything in its own right it's amazing.
Well, don't worry, we'll keep you covered if you need to hide from anyone or if you've got any disgruntled.
I hadn't even thought of that, but
well, it's okay, we're your protection. It's pretty much why we're here this evening.
Okay, cool.
This is my Thank you.
Oh, look, and here's the award.
It is the award, yes.
Wow.
That's quite something, isn't it?
That's gorgeous.
It's very heavy. It's very heavy.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's nice. You want it to be heavy, don't you? Reassuringly weighty.
Yeah. I was given quite a free rein by Juliet and Mark as to, the scale and extent of everything. I'd not used sampled sounds very much, and I wanted to see what I could do with that. But it's also my longest piece. It's 50 minutes long. My previous longest piece was 30 minutes, so it's.
Did that sort of just naturally happen or did you intend it? Was it intended?
Well, the commission was for. I think Juliet's commission stipulation was 30 to 40 minutes, I think, and I just went a bit longer. Yeah. I mean, it was written actually in sort of fairly sort of lockdowny sort of circumstances, so I could really focus on it. Yeah.
So were you out in your 30-minute walk with a little microphone in the park, just recording birds and things? Is that what you were doing?
No, I wasn't. No, the samples are taken from the sort of
from elsewhere,
open access website.
Well, that makes more sense.
So they're not my own samples.
I thought you were getting some very unusual things in your garden.
It's mainly pigeons.
I'm just still in shock, to tell you the truth. I really am. I wasn't expecting this at all.
Oh, really?
I think I said in my
Congratulations.
acceptance piece, I've been nominated for a few things in the past. I just got used to being nominated, and so I just sat there kind of thinking, it'd be really nice to hear the other music. And then I was just really shocked when my name was read out. So yeah.
We've just been speaking, funnily enough, to Laurence about bird sound.
Right,
His sample,
yes.
but I gather yours very much once you heard.
Yes,
Inspiration to you was it in your own garden, sort of way?
Well, at the beginning, in the first lockdown, lockdown, when we were all out in our gardens enjoying the weather, and suddenly, I was just, we weren't going to gigs anymore, that nothing was open, but I was suddenly so much more aware of the music going on all around us, and it was kind of very comforting, actually. And I had a few snippets of birdsong kind of creeping into some pieces previously. But it was actually the second lockdown. I actually spent that in Tenerife. I've got family over there. So I was living next door to the Botanical Gardens, and I was being woken up at 4 o'clock in the morning a lot of the time, and walking around recording all this incredible birdsong. I didn't mind being woken up by such beautiful music. And generally when I went on my long walks, just recording all the time. And so I had this in my head. And then when I came back to London and finally we could get together and play, I was collaborating with my duo partner, Alcione Mick, on an album. And, so we'd already, sent a few snippets. And finally, I got to play it with them, and they brought it to life, because they do, they're such incredible improvisers. And I knew they'd be up for the birdsong element.
And I guess when you finally got to perform it, it must have been such a cathartic feeling.
Yeah, it was great. And actually, what was lovely was I explained to the audience. It's a really nice, because obviously it's quite complicated music. A lot of odd time signatures crossing over, and then we're improvising off a lot of complicated harmony. But it's really nice to connect with the audience, because they can hear the strands of birdsong, and they can hear that they're working. Of course, so it's obviously they hear and recognise that as a sound that they recognise. It's a nice way into. So, but it was lovely, because we premiered it at the Royal Albert Hall at in the Elgar Rooms during the London Jazz Festival, actually, just so this time really last year, and it was great, because it was. We hadn't done so many live gigs. We'd been doing a lot of streamed gigs. So it was lovely to get that reaction from the audience as well, and to really feel that they connected with the piece. So it was great. Yeah.
And where's this going to live now?
Oh wow! Well, I think on my mantelpiece it might have to actually take over from my certificate of Salto de Pastor, which is when I was in Tenerife I got a diploma in it's a jumping sport they do over in Tenerife. Yeah, jumping using a big pole, jumping down the mountains. That's at the moment. That's at the moment. It's not this. Maybe this should take pride of place. I think. So I'll find another place for my Salto de Pastor. Yeah, maybe. Well, they're both kind of related to the experience I had in lockdown in Tenerife. Yeah.
Well, it's so lovely to chat to you. Thanks for coming to
lovely to chat to you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Huge congratulations on your award. Thank you. And, it's something that's so present, obviously, at the moment, and completely in getting media attention, as it should be. The plight of refugees coming to this country, and indeed, when you were writing and you were collaborating, because I gather you were working with refugee groups.
Yes.
Did you find it a largely positive experience, or was it just incredibly sort of soul destroying?
Extremely positive. So all the people who I worked with are the movers and shakers, and they were people who volunteered to be part of the project, and they were really passionate about sharing their ideas, their voice. And so it was just a joy to be able to work with them, to help them to choose what they wanted to present, and then to guide them very gently through that. So it's all their own work, their own. So that was the whole idea, that my music would kind of act as a framework around which, or within which, other people could come forward, people with lived experience of seeking and finding refuge.
When you hear so many bleak things, it's lovely to know that these things are happening, and congratulations for setting up something so magical.
Well, I have to say the team at Ex Cathedra are absolutely amazing to work with. So if it hadn't been for their dedication, tenacity, this is all set up. This is the third planned performance. Through lockdown, we had 2 other performances that had to be cancelled. So the tenacity of Ex Cathedra and the skills of their vocal tutors working in the community alongside me and their management team, absolutely amazing people, and they have worked day and night to help bring this together. So.
Fantastic. We should let you go and enjoy it this evening, and
Thank you very
go and
much.
have that well-deserved drink now. I gather they're very heavy.
They are quite heavy.
Well, can I?
Oh, yeah.
That's very kind
I
of
mean,
you.
I'm on the train going home, and I'll have to make sure that's
May
well
I?
concealed,
Yeah,
because that's
well, you
a
will.
It's
blunt
really heavy,
instrument. Well, it's
isn't
not
it?
even all that blunt,
No,
actually.
it
but-
isn't. It's
Oh, that's
terrifying.
gorgeous. Get a nice shot of that for the camera.
Oh yeah, please, before I stop
Yeah,
plowing
yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
Seb,
Oh,
give
please-
it back.
please give it
hand
back.
it back. Hand it back now. Here we go. There we go. It's wonderful. So I gather that nobody actually know. You don't know. You have no heads up.
No.
Was it? I mean, I'd say, was it a surprise? That seems like a daft thing to say because I guess
Absolute
Yeah.
surprise. And I mean, I have been involved in competitions, also a couple of competitions in Australia where officially you're not told, but then there's somebody will ring you and say, you can be there, can't you? And you kind of think, right. And this isn't like that. This is a genuine surprise. So, yeah.
Oh, all the more exciting.
It is all the more exciting, yeah.
So it's based on the letters of Mary Queen of Scots, I guess.
It is, yes.
For what? And how on earth did you whittle down those
Well,
letters?
I mean, what it came down to is that Matthew Jocelyn, my librettist, found these moments across the almost 20 years, well, actually more than 20 years, because it starts even before she comes to England and ends up being a prisoner of Elizabeth I.
Do you feel like you've really got inside the mind of Mary, Queen of Scots, over this whole process?
Mary's she must have been an incredibly complicated character. I think we've scratched the surface, perhaps. Yeah, to some extent, but there are layers upon layers in that woman's mind and life and dealings.
No.
Yeah.
There are some places you don't want to go because she was duplicitous and complicated and so on. So in a way, we're only hearing her side of the story in this piece, but that's certainly, first of all, enough to more than fill 30 minutes, as far as we could see. I mean, it's a pretty dramatic ride. But yeah, she's a truly fascinating creature.
That must have been incredible when you first heard your daughter sing it in the first performance.
Yeah, it was. It was
Yeah.
amazing.
Well, congratulations.
Yes,
Thank you.
huge congratulations.
And have a
Cheers.
lovely evening.
Thank
Lovely
you.
to meet you.
Sorry, I'm wearing a suit which is like, I think 18 years old, and it's
Very
still.
nice.
Well,
very nice.
I still I'm surprised I'm still getting into it. It's.
Yeah, I've gone very much for
I
sax.
decided to wear it. I've had it for 18 years. I was like, I'm gonna just try it.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Listen, as one proud Leighton resident to another,
Oh,
I'm very
amazing.
proud. Flying the
Oh,
flag for Leighton.
that's
Come on.
amazing.
So
Brilliant.
good, so good.
I'll tell you what's amazing. It's like, I mean, we still have our family home, my mum and dad there. It's the amount of musicians you see in Leighton.
Yeah.
It's become the hub. Like, 10 o'clock, if you're like outside Leighton Tube Station, you just see like cellos on people's backs and violins and instruments, and it's for me it's a big change because
Yeah, really.
oh yeah.
So
yeah.
growing up, was there much of a...
But there was always a hate-love relationship with Leighton, because it was a great place to live. It was a great place to grow up. But then it went through its little bit of patch, I think. And then I kind of grew out of it, and I wanted to grow out of it. I wanted to be successful enough to move out of Leighton, And
Yeah.
now it's the other way around. I'm like, Mum and Dad, can you move to Suffolk? And I'll move back to our house in Leighton. It's amazing how that happens, isn't it?
It's crazy, isn't it?
So what am I doing in Suffolk?
Come back.
Yeah.
Is that where you're based now, in Suffolk?
Yeah, I've been 7 years. I've been between there and London and Delhi. Last night I got back from Delhi. So
wow.
I still spend time in India and Delhi. I like it so I can get my instruments repaired, my luthiers. I have a good collection of antique Indian instruments now. It's built. And I think it really started building up in Suffolk because I had the space there. And some friends in Suffolk, like Chris Doddridge, who's an amazing practitioner. He's in his 80s. He's an incredible luthier. He makes Indian instruments which they don't even make in India. So I met him in Suffolk, Chris, and my collection really started like really getting crazy. And I feel really blessed. I've got these amazing instruments, you know.
Yeah. And do you record at your place in Suffolk?
Yeah, I've been
Right.
practicing that, and then I have my studio facility there.
Yeah.
In a big space, mastering, and we've got residency as well, so musicians can come and stay.
Oh.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, because in London, I mean, forget it. I mean, I don't even have a bed for myself, you know, hardly. Right? It's not going to happen. Even some of my new music is made in the same room I grew up in.
Wow.
Because I stayed there, like, in lockdown, I had no choice, so I ended up staying there. My younger sister said, I shared a couple of the beats with her, and she said, oh, like, your best music's always going to come out of that room.
That's great.
You know, that room, the backyard used to look at an old kind of railway yard.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know the one,
Yeah.
And now it's the Olympic Park, you know?
I know. Such a change.
It's mad.
It's completely mad.
You know, E20, it's like, and I cycled there, I love it.
Yeah.
It's brilliant,
Me
you know?
too, it's
yeah.
great.
So you grew up in Leighton?
No, I've lived there for 10 years.
Oh, okay,
now.
yeah.
Yeah.
10 years, then you're definitely, you're qualified as what we call a Leighton stoner. So that's where the word Leytonstone came from, Leighton stoned. So you had to be stoned, and you always had to turn up late. You know?
There we go. Perfect. Lovely to meet you. Cheers. Was it wonderful in there? What's the vibe like? Is it very exciting?
Because you haven't been sitting in
No,
there, right?
we have seen nothing.
We've been told to not go in there at all.
Yeah.
It's really it started off feeling quite relaxed, and then it's got more intense as the evening's gone on, I think. It's asking two questions: what is a voice, and what happens when it's gone? We made this work working with interdisciplinary professionals connected to voice across technology and science and healthcare and research, biomedical research, and then lots and lots of people who had lived experience of voice loss. So whether that was through having had motor neuron disease or having motor neuron disease, or having had a laryngectomy, their voice box removed, or people with Parkinson's. This project started probably 4 years ago. With a series of conversations at Britain Peers Arts with a dear friend and colleague of mine, Philippa Reeve, and I went to her wanting to explore what voice was, wanting to really understand what the intrinsic value of the human voice was, because my father lost his speech as part of a terminal illness, and as a professional involved in dealing with voice every day, working with singers, writing for voice, performing, conducting, thinking about voice, until that happened to my dad, I'd never actually really realised what our voices mean and what they do and how they're connected to our identity. So I wanted to make a body of work that was about exploring that with an interdisciplinary group of people and people with lived experience of voice loss and their families to try and answer that question.
Quite.
So I really wanted to actually platform voices that aren't heard and platform them on an equal stage with people like Roddy Williams and Lucy Crowe and some incredible voices and artists that are widely recognised as being at the top of their game, and write pieces that actually can only exist because they are about the marriage of different voices connecting.
Where are you going to put your statue? Have you got somewhere special for
My
it?
statue is so exciting. I've never had a statue. I don't know. People always say they put it in their loo, don't they? But I don't. My loo isn't big enough to host a statue. Somewhere out of reach of the dog and the kids, I think probably.
Quite right, but
I don't
prominent nonetheless.
know. We'll see. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks so much for
thank
talking
you.
to us. So your piece, Scenes from the Wild, could you give us a brief sort of synopsis of what?
Yeah, I mean, so it's based on a wonderful book by Dara McNulty called Diary of a Young Naturalist. And it's basically a year in the life of Dara, who was and is now at university, but he was a teenager, 14 when he wrote it, with autism, and it's about his relationship with the natural world and how the natural world, helped him navigate difficulties in his life. And we see him go from a child who was bullied at school to somebody who is at the forefront of sort of being an eco. Working for the environment, an eco warrior, and it's just a wonderful novel about what we can gain from nature appreciating the beauty of nature and how we have to save it and how it can help us all with our mental health. When you're doing something so long for so many instruments, I mean, I had a spreadsheet and I would do, very prosaic things like the bassoon had a feature here at about 25 minutes in, so it probably wants to have something interesting at about 50 minutes in. So there's a whole, like being able to think in that larger scale is very hard, and you're constantly referring to the text and to nature, but also to things like to graphs to help you work out where you're going, and what sort of key centres you've been neglecting, and general structure. It's a sort of that's what I love about composing, sort of mixture of inspiration and craftsmanship, sort of chiselling away at things.
Oh, I've been admiring your amazing outfit. Congratulations, Joanna.
Personally, not wearing flat.
Oh, I love it. It's so good. It's so good. Award ceremonies, isn't it great that it's back up and running, for
So
a
nice.
full...
Let's hope we all don't get COVID, but let's hope we don't. No, I agree 100%. It's amazing. It's a what a relief. Lovely.
Yeah, was it nice being in there? Good vibe? I mean, we've not been allowed anywhere near it, to be honest. Seb and I, we've been kept away.
It's been really nice. But I mean, for me, I've just thoroughly enjoyed seeing all of those names and people that I've heard music by, but I haven't heard maybe those pieces, and just seeing what the take is on them. And I've loved it. Every single category, every single clip, it's been amazing. I've loved it personally, hearing all of that,
Oh.
Is it rare to get composers all in the same room like this and chatting to each other?
This is the only time.
It's like your AGM.
Yeah, it's great because you see all the people that you've kind of seen on, at the proms or at a distance, and everyone's in, sort of 5 meters away. It's rather good. Love it. Yeah.
Who was Gillian of Norwich? Were they a writer or what was their...
Gillian of Norwich was an anchoress. So she lived in a tiny little cupboard in a church in Norwich. Basically, her job was to pray on behalf of her community. And she was locked in this cupboard and never left for years. And she had these visions called Revelations of Divine Love. She wrote them all down. It was the first book in the English language. And they are ecstatic visions of her Saviour, and she... the whole language of it is incredible sort of passages of reflecting on this ecstasy and joy that she felt in her Saviour. And there was... It's quite well known as one of the sort of standard kind of beginnings of literature, particularly interesting because it's a woman writer. So
Incredible text to work with, a great starting point to have that.
Yeah, it's really good. And I really like the prompt from the commissioner who lived in Norwich. Patricia Hewitt lives in Norwich, so she had a particular interest in that. And it's always nice to write a piece where you've got a personal kind of connection coming through to inspire something. Just helps you think, just wheels around in your mind a little bit.
Yeah.
That was nice.
It sounds like the party is well and truly hotting up now.
Yes,
I think we should probably let you go and enjoy and revel in your victory. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Lovely
so
to
much.
meet you.
Congrats.
I think it went well, didn't it?
I think it was good.
Yeah, it was great.
I actually quite enjoyed that.
I did too.
It was a bit like speed dating.
It was.
Very
Very much in the same sense that I felt like some I performed okay and some not so much.
Well, thanks for watching. It's been really brilliant being here, meeting lots of different composers, different people.
We'll link to as many of these of the performances of these works as possible in the link in the description. Would it be there?
It'll be there, down there somewhere.
Yeah.
You'll find some more information.
Yeah.
Seek out these incredible composers and their works. They got voted for and they won for a very good reason.
For good reason.
Yeah.
I think we should take Ian to the bar, shouldn't we?
Ian deserves.
Ian saying yes.
All right. See you next time, everyone.
See you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.